What's up, everybody? I'm Kyle Carlson, and this is the Rollback BMX Podcast, the #1 BMX podcast in the universe, according to me. Today's guest is one of the most important gentlemen in the history of making BMX videos, Mr. Will Stroud. Will's work includes, but is not limited to, multiple pieces in props, the System Cycle video, all of Levi's online videos as well as their full-length video, Etnies chapters, and he is now the man behind all things video related at Cinema, as well as the brand's team manager. We discuss how Will got into both riding and filming BMX, the steps he took in his professional career to end up where he is today, where he thinks BMX media is headed, what it's like working with the incredibly stacked team at Cinema, and a whole lot more. So sit back, listen up, prepare to get educated. This is the Rollback BMX Podcast with Will Stroud. We are live. What's up, Will?
Yo, how you doing, Kyle?
Oh, man. I'm drinking a Lone Rider Sweet Josie Brown Ale. Is this a North Carolina beer?
This is a North Carolina beer. This actually is leftover beer from my wedding this year that we're drinking right here.
Wait, first wedding or second wedding?
My second wedding. You got me.
Is this one gonna last?
Oh, yeah.
Promise?
Promise. I got to keep her.
She's cool.
Oh, yeah. She's awesome.
Just, I'm generally anti-marriage, but I remember one time I was in town and she stayed home with your kids so you could come get drunk with me.
Yeah, she did.
So I was like, all right, she's perfect.
Yeah, exactly, right? No, she's great. She's great.
How long's that been?
We've been together for almost 3 years and married since this April.
Nice. Nope.
Yeah, but we've known each other for a really long time, like over 20 years, I think.
Didn't you meet her at Ryan Barrett's wedding or something?
No. Well, we met for the first time then, but we knew each other back in high school just through mutual friends, through Chris Doyle and Ryan Barrett, who, were still to this day, some of my best friends. So yeah, it's funny, small world, how we kind of came to meet through those guys.
Yeah, so it all kind of boils back to BMX, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Funny, Ryan Barrett's brother used to date Lauren's sister too, so it's pretty funny too, like small world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. So, like I said, it's a North Carolina beer. We're sitting here at your house in Raleigh. You've kind of lived in this area your entire life, haven't you?
Most of my life, yeah. I grew up like not far from here in a smaller town, Fuquay, out by where the 401 trails are. Yeah, I grew up there till my freshman year of college, and I went to Campbell University, which is a smaller school, not far from here. Then I transferred to UNC Greensboro. I lived in Greensboro for 3 years through my college years, finishing that college there, and then from there I moved to Ohio for a year, working with Corey Muth and Steve Budendeck. Back then.
What were you doing with them in Ohio?
Back then, they ran Access Media Group, so they were working for DK and Fly. That's when we did the system video and a bunch of those projects.
You actually moved out there for that?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I lived in Dayton, Ohio with Corey Muth, and we, that's when we worked on that video and a couple other projects at the time. Kind of, like, I remember that right at the sort of the beginning of like the web video phase was kind of during that era.
So, back to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You've been here for the majority of your life.
Yeah.
You might not really have many options now based on being an adult married man with children, but are you planning on staying here?
Yeah. Like, this is home for me. My family's here. My kids are here. My house is here. I have some great friends here. I do really enjoy traveling, so, still going a decent amount of trips. But yeah, this is home for me. I contemplated moving to the West Coast a long time ago, like 10 years ago, and ended up not doing it. Just kind of the right thing for my family to be here, since my kids are being raised here and go to school here. I just wanted to make this kind of home base and just travel.
Get off your high horse and quit trying to be a good dad. Just be a real bad person. Like
Having kids, you have some choices to make, and I chose just to wanted to be in their life, and they were going to be here, so it kind of made sense to kind of make this home base. And just
it's unfortunate that many, especially in this BMX world, don't make those choices.
Yeah,
and are shitty parents.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to cast judgment on anybody that makes those decisions. Everybody,
you're allowed to, especially as a father. I cast judgment, and I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just felt like the right thing to do for like me and my family. But yeah, I love it here. I mean, I have great people here, great weather, pretty much except when hurricanes roll through and damage your house. But other than that,
dude, downtown Raleigh's cool, and you're like pretty close to downtown.
Yeah, we're really close.
I've been way worse places than this.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Couple better ones, but way worse places. So BMX wise, what's your job at Cinema?
I'm the team manager and video content creator.
So are you actually doing some team management shit? Like if guys need wheels, you send them to them?
Yeah. I put in like all the orders to Blackout whenever guys need stuff. That all pretty much comes through me, and I put it through the Blackout system, get those guys whatever they need. And then kind of on the marketing video side, I, talk with each of those dudes, and we develop kind of a plan for each year and what we want to do. This year in particular, we had a lot of signature product coming out, so we did.
Yeah, whose was it your idea, or who was the brains behind doing more than just wheels, doing the pedals, doing the sprockets? Like whose idea was that?
Well, it kind of started to expand a little bit when Cinema was at Greenhouse. Those guys like developed a sprocket, and I think they originally designed the CK pedals and whatnot. But I don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, those pedals were actually. I don't believe that product was made. So
So hey, throw it back a little bit more for those who don't know. Cinema was started by Greenhouse, Steve Buddendeck and Corey Muth. They also started Verde. And a year and a half, 2 years ago, shit wasn't going well and they sold it? Is that?
No, they just kind of wanted to. They had to make some decisions as far as like what brands they wanted to focus more on, and they decided to, just like Steve Buddendeck and Zach Phillips, the two owners. Steve owns Verde, Duo and Cinema, him and Corey Muth, and then Zach, who owns Kink and Blackout.
Both fucking great guys.
Yeah. All parties are great guys, and they just kind of chatted about doing some business dealings, and Zach was interested in acquiring Cinema, and they worked out a deal to where Blackout has Cinema now, and then Greenhouse actually kind of they shifted, and they took Verde and Duo over to System Cycle with DK and those other brands.
So they kind of like sold you off? Like, do you feel like you're being like human trafficked?
No, it's cool. Like, I'm still like, everything's all good. There's no.
Do you do anything with Duo Verde anymore?
No, I haven't worked with them since they moved everything over to System. I've just kind of everything shifted for me, pretty much just like more of like full-time Cinema. So just like focused with them more.
Had you ever worked with the Kink or Blackout guys before?
I'd film like, contributed clips to their videos and stuff. And I've obviously, been good friends with Doyle my whole life, and a lot of those guys, but I've never technically done any real business with them other than just like sending clips for like their team videos and stuff for like Doyle and just random Kink riders.
How is it working with those guys? They seem to run a tight ship, but they all
they all
do a great job.
Yeah, it's great. I got, only nice things to say about all those guys. Everybody from like Zach down to the guys in the warehouse, everybody there is awesome and works.
You say
really
it like
hard.
There's a lot of people. That's a small company.
Yeah,
those guys wear a lot of hats.
Yeah. I mean, they have, I work closely with Matt. He does the brand managing and product managing for both Kink and Cinema. And then,
I communicate with Matt somewhat regularly.
Yeah, he's a good
awesome.
dude. He's, really smart, amazing product designer.
That's what always impressed me about that crew is like Zach did a great job of getting these guys in place that just kick ass at what they do and seem to get it.
Yeah.
And they're guys like Matt's kind of an unsung hero of the BMX world where people don't know who he is.
Yeah.
But like this dude handles so much shit, and there's a couple guys that are like that, even on the team side, like J Rowe, like kind of reinvented that brand as far as Kink goes.
Yeah. Those guys kill it, man. They all work hard, and just always trying to push forward, make great products, come up with ideas.
So when you guys went over, was it the whole team at the time? I know Cinema's lost a couple soldiers along the way, and then currently it's Dakota, Chad, Nathan, Corey,
and Dakota.
I already said that. Is it four?
Chad, Corey, Dakota. Oh, Garrett. That's who you say.
It's easy to forget Garrett.
How can you forget Garrett? Of course.
So all those guys were under the previous ownership, and they're still with them.
Correct. Yeah, they all came with.
So nobody felt the need to part ways.
No, it all worked out.
Awesome.
It was a pretty smooth transition. It's like it wasn't really any confusion. It just kind of switched over the month that it had happened, and it's all been good from there.
I would think if you take a pre-built team and their boss and bring them under your wing, that just seems like a recipe for it not working well, but it seems to have worked well. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think it's always a risk, buying a new business or selling a business, but I think those guys have, they believe in Cinema and they want it to be a cool brand, and putting some support behind it and letting us doing these really cool trips this year. Did a team trip to Denver earlier this year with all 5 guys. It was great. We had a little bit of bad luck with Dakota getting hurt right off the bat. He broke his leg pretty much
like 2 hours or something after he got there.
Right after getting off the plane in the very first ditch spot. So that was terrible. We all felt bad for him. So he ended up going home and not needing surgery, which was great. But yeah, so it was unfortunate we couldn't have him on the whole squad together for that trip, the majority of that trip. But that's just kind of the way it goes.
How long were you guys out in Denver for that?
I think that was a 10-day trip.
There was a lot of good shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, with those guys, like you'd have to try to get a lot of bad shit, I guess.
Yeah. No, it was great, man. We had great weather the whole time. Andrew Knight, he was our filmer and tour guide.
Yep.
Awesome dude.
Yep.
Took really good care of us. Showed us all the Denver gems, and we had a great time. I can't. Yeah, Denver was a lot of fun, and then tonight, I'm flying to Montreal.
That's not the whole crew, right?
This is not the whole crew, unfortunately. This is just like a little bit smaller trip.
What's the reasoning behind that?
This trip we're doing this week in Montreal is through OGC. OGC is our Canadian distro, and they one of the other people at Cinema, Harley Haskett, he's our art director, creative director.
Yep.
He lives in Toronto, so he handles a lot of our Canadian business.
Did he used to live in Montreal?
No, I don't think so. Harley's always lived in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe I just randomly assumed he lived in Montreal.
Yeah. So he and Harley used to help run 10-Pack in McNeil back in the day.
Yeah,
so he's been around for a while. And I met him back in like 7 or 8 years ago. My first Canadian trip with 10-Pack was Harley took us on that. So this trip I'm going on now, Harley's kind of like in charge of the same stuff, like tour guide and whatnot. So that should be a good one. But
who's the crew?
This crew is so it's Nathan, Garrett, and Chad Curley, myself, Kevin Connors, and Harley. We'll be in Montreal filming for the next 5 days, and then we have this invitational amateur event at Lataz Skate Park.
Oh, cool.
Where Chad, Nathan, and Garrett were all team captains, and they have 3 riders on each team, and we're doing like kind of like jam format. And they're all AM riders, 3 riders on each of our
Did they pick
team.
them already, or they picked them?
No, we're gonna. Some of them we're pretty much picking all of them at the park, but some of them are kind of already set in place through our through OGC, as a Canadian distro. They already have some riders they want on each team, and I think there's pretty much like 2 open wild cards per team that each of our dudes, Garrett, Nathan, and Chad, will all pick at the Taz like during warm ups that day.
That's awesome.
The event. Yeah, to be on their team.
Way to throw it back and show some love to the locals.
Yeah. So we're doing that on Saturday, and then on Sunday we're doing a jam at the Montreal Olympic Stadium, street jam. Just trying to get all the locals out. I live in Quebec, Ontario area.
Is that a chill spot? Like you're not getting booted from there?
I think so. I remember we went there on the trip years ago, and we did not have problems. And I think, from what I understand, I think it's chilling. So I know there's security, but I guess for whatever reason, it's been chilling.
Yeah, I've been there once and it was fine, but I'm just like, man, it's such an iconic spot.
Yeah.
Like, can you really go have a jam there? I hope you can.
Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully we have a good turnout. But yeah.
Is there a big new concrete park in Montreal? Do you know about that?
I do not know, actually.
I don't know if there is either. There was talk of doing one of those Vans Pro Cup events in Montreal next year.
Huh.
I didn't know if that meant there was a new park there, or if they'd be building one or what, but maybe I broke some news that isn't confirmed. But Montreal kicks ass.
Yeah, it's a great city, man. Yeah, it's a great city.
You gonna get drunk?
Maybe we'll see. I haven't. I've been off the booze for a month, but I'm having my first beer actually right now with you, Kyle, which is nice.
As I deserve. Let's be fair here. How did you actually get into BMX at first? Because I know, were your brothers in it before you were?
No, my brother is younger than me. He's David. He's 4 years younger. I originally got into BMX through like just middle school lunch table. Some friends rode, and they invited me over to their house one day. We always talked about BMX, and my brother and I always just had like really shitty Walmart bikes that we'd just break, and we kind of knew like BMX was a thing, but we never had nice bikes or knew really anything about it or saw a magazine or a video or anything.
Yep.
Until around middle school lunch table talk, one of my buddies, Jason, invited me over to his house. Then over at his house, he had some jumps in his backyard, and then Billy Dexter used to come over to his house, so I met Billy Dexter. Became close with those guys. Billy and his older brother, they had crazy jumps in their backyard. So that was pretty close to like where I went to school and where I lived. So I kind of like those guys actually like kind of sort of got me into riding. And then back then, that's when like we used to call them the Carey kids. And that was like Chris Doyle, Ryan Barrett, a few other guys used to come out to our jumps in Fuquay, which was, just kind of the next suburb over. But back then we were all like, we didn't even have licenses or cars, so it was kind of hard to get rides to go to like next town over, go ride trails and stuff. So it's kind of back when I met up all of those guys, and yeah, then we kind of like slowly formed the 401 trails. That was actually sort of before I was into riding, but that was even closer to my parents' house, right across the street from where my mom works. We had our 401 trails, and they were awesome. They were going from like the early 90s through probably the early 2000s. I could be wrong. It could have been the late 80s, but I didn't, I don't, there was like always kind of like a circle dirt track out there.
Yep.
Then eventually jumps were built on it, but that was before I started riding. When I got out there was like some small jumps, but then it really developed into like real trails, or kind of like what we thought were real trails, until we went to like Pennsylvania and saw what real trails were back then,
How old were you when you actually first met Chris Doyle?
I think I was 14 or 15.
Is he same age as you?
Yeah, he's like he's like 6 months younger than me, so almost same age.
Was he always the best?
Yeah, he was the best.
Even back then?
Yeah, even at like racing, just like style, tricks. He was just always like ahead of everyone. And it was crazy when we became like good buddies and rode together all the time. And a lot of times I would ride with him one-on-one, and a lot of times like me and him and Ryan Barrett and Corey Muth and all those guys, just like they were shredding so hard. And I was always the guy just trying to keep up, getting hurt, like breaking bones all the time.
Sounds like the recipe to start filming.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happened. I was the kid on the sideline that wanted to be at the trails with my friends, but also broken arm, so I couldn't ride. So I eventually did pick up the camera back in those late high school days.
Is that when you first got into filming then, through an injury? And
Yeah. I was just getting hurt a lot, and I started just kind of messing with my grandmother had a really old, shitty, like over-the-shoulder camera. I think it was like a VHS-C camera.
Is she dead now?
Yeah, she died this year, actually.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
She'll be back.
Yeah. Well, sorry, what was I saying?
Your grandma's dead.
Before that,
You're using your grandma's camera.
Yeah. Oh, my grandma's camera. There you go. Yeah. So I was just kind of like learning the ropes of filming with that thing. It was such a really horrible camera to learn how to film with, but I think it kind of taught me just like framing and basic shot composition. We would just film at the trails and just go watch the footage at my parents' house and just critique the footage, you know.
Did you have a desire to do more with it then, make a full-length video or anything, or was that straight up like, look here, let's go watch this later?
We would always like watch footage at my parents' house. We'd kind of like little footage parties when it was like really pain in the ass to plug those cameras into the back of your TVs before everything was so digital and easy. But yeah, we would just film whatever at the trails and just go watch it at my parents' house. And we had a lot of footage, but I didn't really get into editing until like early college, when Corey Muth and I made our first like real video. At the time, like we grew up watching a lot of videos on VHS.
What were you watching? What are some of the early influences?
Oh, the early influences were like all the props videos, the early props issues, the early Road Fools, all of Stu Johnson's videos.
Yep.
Gosh, so many. I can't even think of all of them. All the push videos, anything we could get our hands on, really, because it was so much harder to get videos back then.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
All that, like, we watched like all the, obviously, S&M, DK videos. Yeah, everything.
So what was that first video that you and Corey Muth made?
Oh, that was stock. That was our first official video. And that was kind of just like our friends' crew, like local, mostly North Carolina crew.
At what point did you get like a more legit camera?
It was pretty much when I graduated high school. The summer I graduated high school is when I got the first VX 1000, which I still have to this day. So I've had that thing for, 20 years. I've had
was
the VX
that
for 20 years?
So that's probably when it was current.
Yeah.
You went out and bought a brand new VX 1000.
Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, it came out maybe 96 or 97. Correct me if I'm wrong.
But it was before the 2000 existed.
Yeah, it was before the 2000 came out. But yeah, I bought that, and then that was kind of like when I first started filming. And that's kind of, that's when I kind of got more of an opportunity to film. So that's when we...
Hold on, side question. Why do you think they didn't put a screen on that camera?
I don't think that many cameras, maybe at least...
Was that pre-screens?
I mean, they always kind of had flip-out screens, but maybe just to honestly save on cost and keep the thing smaller, maybe.
You think so?
I don't know.
I always
could
wondered
be wrong about that.
I always wondered that.
Yeah, I think it was like... Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question, actually. And it's a black and white viewfinder, which is, you can't really see the colors as well.
That's one of those cameras that like I missed the boat on. Like when I first got into cameras and bikes and stuff, the 2000 existed, and people were still sweating the 1000.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Somehow, just that classic look. Just reminds me, I have the VX tat from Greece.
Yeah. Who did that on you?
It was a guy in Greece. Yeah,
nice.
A BMX rider, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Athens area or what?
Yeah, it was in Athens.
That scene down there is cool, man.
Yeah, Athens is awesome.
Guys.
Yeah, I like that.
Good guys. Okay, so you make stock. You have a VX 1000.
Yep.
What's next?
Well, that was let me think for a second. Well, before that, before we made stock, Corey, I didn't know anything about editing or really computers at the time. That was funny. That was my senior year of high school, freshman year of college when we made that video. At least the editing part, and we did it on a PC that I had. Adobe Premiere installed on, and Corey knew a lot about computers and editing and Photoshop at the time. I knew pretty much nothing.
Is Corey older than you?
Yeah, Corey's 3 years older than me.
Okay.
So yeah, he was in college, and he was learning all the Illustrator, Photoshop, Premiere stuff on the side, and he was doing a lot of freelance work. So he kind of trained me how to like use basic use of computers and Adobe Premiere and editing and how to ingest clips, how to put it in the timeline, how to add music, how to add titles, all that stuff. I pretty much just watched Corey, and I was kind of like assistant editor for him when we made stock, pretty much.
Was that video distributed?
Yes, it was.
How'd you get it out there?
We had we did a couple like runs of VHS copies. I can't remember how many we did. I mean, we probably sold a couple thousand VHS back in the day. Awesome. And that was all through System Cycle. So at the time, you know, Doyle was riding for DK, and Corey was really tight with those guys. Because Corey used to race for DK. Corey was a semi-pro racer, so he raced for DK for a long time.
Corey's one of those guys that I've always just kind of known as like the behind-the-scenes guy who's fun to get drunk with.
Yeah.
And it's funny because everybody that's known Corey a long time just like speaks so highly of like his riding ability.
Yeah.
I never really knew Corey as a rider.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Gosh, man, he was so smooth. He had like the race.
I think maybe it was even like Doyle was like, I just wanted to be like Corey Youth.
Because Chris and I were the same age, and we looked up to Corey so much. We like sweated his style and like his turn downs and just his like just natural style guy.
The concept of Doyle sweating somebody's turn downs.
Yeah, we looked up to Corey a lot, you know, because back then he was a semi-pro racer and he knew like all the pros at the time that we looked up to. So it was like, we know Corey knows like Chris Bennett, and we thought that was like a huge deal, you know.
You're one person removed from being Chris Bennett's friend.
Exactly. Yeah.
So was it after Stock? Was System the next project, the System Cycle video, or what?
Yeah. So sorry, I got thrown off track there. So before Stock was DK videos. So that was at the time Dave Frymouth and the props guys were making the first DK video, Damn Kids, and Doyle had just got on DK, and at the time Frymouth was filming and editing. He was kind of like directing and editing the videos, kind of in charge, but he was allowing contributor footage. So he sent out letters to all the riders and said, you know, if you have filmers, film you this way and try to use these settings. And that was back when I had before the VX1000.
Oh, wow.
It was like my grandma's camera, and then I had another like a little Sony Hi8 camera, like a little smaller Sony Hi8 camera I eventually had at some point that I still have. I was shooting a lot of like Hi8 tapes, and I sent probably like 8 tapes of Chris just riding the trails, and they ended up using a decent amount of that footage in Chris's Damn Kids part. So that was like, I think, the first contributor footage I had that went to a video.
Nice.
And the fact that like Frymouth was I'd met Frymouth that summer at Woodward because I was a camper at Woodward, and he was one of the visiting pros, so I kind of knew him when he was making the video. So it was cool to like get to know him and contribute footage for that video and get a chance to kind of get.
Well, he was an icon in the industry.
Oh yeah,
still is.
Still like one of my favorite riders, favorite people, favorite all-time riders. And
he did shit on a subrail 15 years ago that nobody's fucking with today.
Oh yeah, totally.
Just insane shit.
Yeah, all those Baco dudes, man. If you watch some of those old videos, just the mini ramp, the subrail stuff you're talking about, like it was just like light years ahead.
I always liked his section in Forward. He wrote to that Fu Manchu song. It was a good section. But some of the stuff he would do on the subrail, like wouldn't even try to like start saying what it was. Some of the combos though, but just like 270 over ice combinations and stuff on subrails that just didn't make any sense at all. Like,
exactly.
But anyway,
so
shout out to Dave Frymouth.
Yeah, shout out to Dave Frymouth. Dale was a good guy. So meeting him back in the day when I was just a camper at Woodward, and you know, he was real cool, and like getting to submit footage to that DK video was cool. And then I think after that was when we started on Stock. And then I think right after Stock, Corey made the next video, the next DK video, Intuition,
which was one of the early videos in that's like when I first saw Doyle ride. Dave Jacobs had a section, I believe. Mm-hmm. I remember Dave Jacobs doing the 1 foot table to table. Mm-hmm. That stands out. But obviously, like, Doyle's always been my favorite rider, and that's when I first really saw Doyle ride. Yeah, I remember being super disappointed because he was riding a yellow General Lee, but you couldn't buy a yellow General Lee, and I wanted Doyle's bike so bad. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
that was kind of the next video I got to be a little bit bigger of a part, and like pretty much helped Corey film the majority of Doyle's parts, since we were both living in Raleigh at the time. I was in college, and Chris was like riding and kind of like getting his pro career started, I guess you would say. Early pro days. We filmed a lot, and I actually helped edit Dave Jacobs' part. He stayed at me and my parents' house for a few days when he was in North Carolina.
Was he into video stuff at all then?
Yeah, he actually sat in with me when we edited his part for that video.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, we both had just got that Small Brown Bike album like the week before, and we were like so stoked to use it in a video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that just that was funny how it music was back then in those videos. So that was kind of my next real official video project I worked on.
How did you guys find stuff like that Small Brown Bike album?
Just through like back then there was like record stores and shows that we went to, and you knew about bands like Hot Water Music.
Because I found all those bands through BMX videos.
Yeah.
I was always curious how the guys that put them in the BMX videos found them.
Yeah, kind of. Like, bands you like from videos as other spin-off bands or similar bands, It just kind of puts you in the music zone. When you're making videos, you got to look for music. So, I don't know. It was just happened to be one of the bands we were both really into at the time. So, and it was a pretty like fresh album at the time. So, that was
cool. Good. Yeah. The section
thanks.
was good. The whole video was good. So DK Intuition, and then at what point did you kind of become a man and start doing your own shit, not just working for Corey?
Well, I think like those weren't really like paying gigs. Those are just kind of like working to learn what I'm doing type gigs.
Yep.
And I think my first paying gig was Roots Jam of 2000. I was my brother and I wanted to go, and this was back when I was like in college, so I was like super broke, but I remember the time I scrounged together everything I had to get a cheap flight to Florida.
Was that for props, or who was that?
So yeah, I had bought my ticket to go as a rider, but then I reached out to like Frymouth and Chris Rye, the props guys at the time, and I was like, hey, I'm going to this event, I'd love to film it for you if you guys don't have anyone going. And they're like, sure, do it. And I don't even remember at the time if like money was discussed. I didn't know if I'd get paid. I was just psyched to have any of my footage and props and like cover a real event. So I think I rode in the amateur class and then filmed the pro class. And it's funny, I rode against Corey Martinez. He was also he won the amateur.
Wow, that's amazing.
Street comp. So, and I kind of knew Corey from back then, so we've been friends a long time. But I filmed the pro comp, and that was in props. Like, I don't even remember what issue it was, to be honest. But it was like, must have been like late 2000.
Okay.
So I think that was the first like, I paid for like my way to get there, but I ended up making a little bit of money as a filmer to go film an event. So that was cool, and like had my footage in a real video. So that was the beginning of it, and that's kind of when I got to know Ron Bonner too, because kind of worked closely with him during that event, and then he reached out to me about making a full length Roots Jam video for the next year in 2001. So I did a full length Roots video the following year, just with a full length event video.
Did you do more with props?
I did. I worked for props for probably about 5 years.
Like formally worked for him, or like did they send you on trips occasionally?
Just contributor.
Okay.
Contributing,
okay.
Yeah. So I'd work guys like Chris Rye and Stu Johnson on, sections.
And this is all while you're still in college?
Yeah. This was like mostly during my college days.
Nice.
They like sent me to like England for the first time, which was cool. They let me do stuff with Doyle and Ryan Barrett quite a bit. So I got to do a lot of cool stuff with friends and cover a lot of cool events. I
know I've told you before, and I'm pretty sure I've told Ryan probably 100 times, but that Ryan Barrett bio and props is still one of my favorite video sections.
Oh, cool.
And I think it's because, trying to reflect back on it, and I don't mean this at a negative jab at Ryan by any means, but it was one of the first videos I ever saw that I really, really, really enjoyed, and it wasn't just because the riding was fucking crazy.
Oh, okay.
He was a really good rider, but it was just really well put together. He looked good on his bike. The song was good. The video was put together really well. And I think that's one of the videos that made me want to start dabbling and making videos unconsciously.
Oh, cool.
Just because you know what I mean? It was the first time I could walk away from something that wasn't like, oh my God, Ruben just rode over the goddamn school.
Yeah.
It was like just straight up like bangers, like a downside whip on a hip or something, like, I mean, that was probably just another video for you, right?
No, I feel lucky. That was actually one of my senior thesis projects in film school. So I legitimately did spend a full semester of college making that. And I kind of worked out the deal with props guys, since at the time I was been doing a lot of videos for them. And they were familiar with Barrett, and they knew he was a shredder. And I was like, hey man, I want to do this.
Was he on Hoffman at the time?
Yes.
So he was like a legit sponsor. Pro at the time.
He was on like Hoffman and maybe even Target and all. That was like right back when Hoffman had all those sponsors and stuff. So that was fun. We spent quite a bit of time traveling. I think we filmed most of it around North Carolina, like around this area in North Carolina. I think we may have done like 1 or 2 Florida trips and a few other randoms. I'd have to watch it to see where it was filmed, but I think it was mostly around like Raleigh, Greensboro area at the time. But yeah, that was a really fun project to make.
Did other people like that a whole lot, or was it just me?
I've had a few people tell me they liked it. Like I remember at the time, I think on my first England trip when I went over for props, I remember Peter Adam. I think it was one of the first times I met him. He told me he liked it.
Yeah.
And Pete's like awesome. He's the man.
I had a beer with him like a week ago.
Yeah.
I've actually never really met him before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was my first time meeting him, which is crazy because I love going to Ireland, and he lives in Belfast.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was funny. We were talking, and I said something about it, and he was like, his mind was blown. He's
Yeah.
like, the fuck did you go to Belfast for? I'm like, I've been there a handful of times to
Yeah,
get drunk, you know?
Yeah, I know you always talked about how awesome. I've actually never been there. I know Corey Martina just got back from Belfast, and he loved it, man.
Yeah, dude, Belfast is crazy. That's one of the craziest cities I've been to in the
Yeah.
world. Just all of the history based on the Catholics versus the Protestants. Like, it's shit that you have to see to understand, but it's the only time I've ever been somewhere that, like, when you're in the shit, and obviously took a stereotypical tour, but it was super beneficial as far as like taking in knowledge. There's like a mural of somebody who's a hero for the Protestants, and it's just like this big like whole side of a building, and then literally like a block away there's a memorial for all the people he killed in the other neighborhood. Like it's like a block away, and it's like this guy's a hero on this side and this guy's a huge villain on this side.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I've never seen that anywhere else other than Belfast, and it's just such a crazy culture. But I would, every time I've been there, I found a good time, but I'd like to go hang out with Peter over there just for a day or two and be like, show me the local shit, I guess. I'm probably just wandering around, and this place looks like there's a lot of drunk guys here.
yeah. Like I said, I'd like to go. I know Pete says it's great. And
fantastic video dude, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible videographer.
Oh, yeah, Pete's the man. We just got to hang out in Latvia for Simple Session. That was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Pete. He's the man. Does awesome work. Yeah, he's doing all the dig stuff now, which is great. Yeah, he's awesome, dude.
Yeah, he killed it with Corey's X Games part.
Yes, and Nathan's.
Yes, yeah. He's
got 2 gold medals in a row for
X
Games Real Street.
I mean, everything he does is fucking good.
Yeah.
You can't really point him out.
Oh, that Simone video he did was really good.
Yeah, that was
one of my favorites.
It pisses me off when people are that talented.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, man. You just
so
you
good,
see
yeah.
Simone on a bike too.
Yeah.
Like Peter on a camera and Simone on a bike, both you guys, it's just like I see the same thing you see, but I don't see the same thing you see.
Pretty much. Yeah, right.
So, okay, let's throw it back. Try to get in less tangents here. So, did some prop stuff. Then system video had to be a big one for you, right?
Yeah.
So remember when that came out? That was a big deal in the BMX industry.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a fun project. That was like right out of film school, so I was like just really motivated and I guess you would say hungry to make a really good video.
Did you learn things you applied in film school, or is that kind of a formality of getting the piece of paper?
I mean, yeah, film school, more or less, I kind of already had the equipment. I bought a lot of equipment earlier in film school because my department didn't necessarily have some of the best stuff. So, and I didn't need the best stuff, but like talking as like just basic equipment at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of invested in some equipment and sorry, I kind of ADD'd. Where were we going with this? What was the question again?
We're talking about how your grandma died?
No, before that.
Talk about film school. Was film school
film school,
good,
yeah.
Good experience?
Yeah. I think what saved me and what I really enjoyed about film school was I had a couple like graduate professors. One was from Korea and one was from Taiwan, and they were kind of my mentors entering film school, and I feel like they knew a lot more than some of the other professors, and they really kind of trained me on like the art, I guess you would say, of filmmaking and learning how to use 16mm film and how like the old film cameras work. So, and I always really enjoyed seeing all like film, like real film and all the BMX videos. So I was like, man, I'm really just excited to learn how to shoot on real film. So that was kind of like early, kind of like back in those days when I was like shooting a lot of film, and a lot of it ended up making it into the system video at the time, which was fun.
Do you shoot film anymore?
I haven't in a few years. I do have a couple rolls in my freezer over here that would go in the Bolex. I think it's reversal film that someone gave me, so that stuff's harder to process. It's black and white.
That stuff sucks because it's fun and whatnot, but then trying to get somebody to pay for it or pay, you know what I mean? Like I've had guys do projects for me that were all like, I need this much money because it's this type of film and stuff. And I'm like, as much as I love that, like I'm not going to get anything more out of it.
Exactly.
Business wise, you know?
I honestly think the last time I used my film camera, which makes me kind of sad to think about, was when I filmed a K-Rob video at Woodward. This was like over 10 years ago. I think it was 2007 or 2008.
Was that when you were filming that full-length Hoffman video? Or?
No, that was after. It was just a random like side project for Red Bull. I think it was after the Levi's video days. I had been to Woodward quite a bit filming at Bestwick, and Kevin and I had always chatted because he's on the vert ramp a lot. He's like, "Yo, let's make an edit," and then we just kind of eventually I was like, "Oh, let's do a 16mm piece." And
that's sick. Yeah,
we made one. Yeah.
Was that the indoor vert ramp?
Indoor vert ramp. Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to dig it up and see if I can find that because I don't recall that off the top of my head.
I recently uploaded it, I think, since Kevin passed this year. Yeah.
Shout out to Kevin Robinson.
Yeah, shout out to K-Rob.
Kick-ass guy.
Yeah.
One of those guys if I didn't know him, I'd be like, who's this weird jock guy? You get to know him, I'm like, oh, this is the coolest fucking dude there is.
He's a really, really nice guy.
Yeah. Way, way, way cooler than like, I hope a lot of people that would be as much of an asshole as I am got to hang out with him. Because it's just like when you get to know the guy, he's just such a cool dude.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyways, okay, back to you. Your grandma's dead. You made a system video. Let's talk about Levi's. So you ended up basically taking on the entire Levi's video work. And when the Levi's thing first happened, it was a video a week, wasn't it?
Yes. Before that was the Hoffman video, though. The Hoffman video kind of led to Levi's because they were doing, that was through, kind of backstory was Target was with Hoffman at the time.
Yes.
Hang on, let me back up for a second. Hoffman Bikes was co-sponsored by Target at the time, and Kathy McGrath. Shout out to Kathy McGrath. She was the marketing person at Target in charge of working with Hoffman Bikes. She actually quit Target not long after those days, and then she started pitching brands projects, and she pitched Levi's the whole program, the whole like video program and everything with Vital back in those days. So we were good friends from working on like some of the Target Hoffman stuff together. And she asked me if I wanted to be involved with the Levi's stuff. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door.
Was that hard for you to take on something that was literally 52 videos a year plus probably some extra stuff, when that probably didn't leave a whole lot of time to do other shit? You were probably just full-time Levi's pretty much, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, that was great, man. That was like back when I was just like kind of like full-time freelance. At the time, I think that was before I worked for any of like Verde Duo Cinema brands.
So before they existed.
Yeah, it was. Because they all kind of formed. I believe it was like maybe Verde and Duo existed in like 2007, 2008, and then Cinema launched in 2010. Okay. That's kind of when I became a little bit more official with those brands. But at the time, I was just kind of like a floating freelancer, and then Levi's came along, had the opportunity. And Kathy was really cool. She even she got Steve Budendeck involved with the photo side and some of the marketing stuff, and so we got to all kind of put our heads together. And Kathy pitched the project. We kind of helped suggest some of the team riders that they ended up picking, which was awesome.
Yeah,
gave us like good travel budget for video and filming.
That seems like a too good to be true deal.
Yeah, it totally was.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously it ended, which sucks, but like, even for it to come to exist in the first place, like,
yeah, man, yeah,
pick these dream riders and have this gigantic budget and just go do cool shit.
Yeah, that was awesome, like super awesome days. Just
when that ended, did you see the writing on the wall, or was it any sort of a shock?
I mean, I had let's see, it was 2007, 2008, 2009. I was pretty much almost full time shooting and traveling for them, editing those weekly videos. So it's a lot of work. And it was a lot of fun, but it was like when I really started traveling heavily and getting to go places, and I guess learning how to be a better filmer, better editor, just kind of like shooting so much, you're kind of like training yourself.
You can't shoot or do anything that much and not get better at it.
Yeah, and it was a struggle to be creative and try to make 40 unique videos a year, like or 40 or 50, I can't remember. It was different every year.
Okay.
I think it was different the year we made the full length video. We made less weekly videos that year, but we still did some. But I think that was like 2007 to 2009, and then I think 2010 they cut all the video and travel, but they still had the team, and then I think that was
you were kind of cut with that.
Yeah, I got cut I think the year before the program ended, and then the program ended the following year.
That's what happens. They got rid of you and everything went to shit.
No, I take no credit for any of that.
Was that you reflect on that as a good experience though?
Oh, that was the best experience.
Yeah.
That was, like I said, that was like got my first HD camera. Really got to travel a lot overseas, like first time doing the Asia trips and, Barcelona trips, all the Germany trips, getting to work with, all the team dudes was awesome. Like at the time it was Corey Martinez, Bestwick, Morgan Wade, Anthony Napolitan, and then they picked up a whole flow team. That was awesome. All those guys, which Nathan and Dakota, guys like Jeremiah.
I remember at the time it was like accidentally the team of guys that weren't going to get drunk with you.
Oh, right. Yeah. Hey, man. Yeah. Times change for people.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do,
Yeah. One thing, fast forward a little bit, Levi's thing, move into the Verde Cinema Duo stuff. One thing I kind of credit you for, and I don't know if this is just a terminology thing or if it's actually the whole idea, is you were kind of the first guy to be like, we're going to make a full video part and put it online. Literally refer to it as a video part. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the exact same approach. We were filming for a video. It's just going online. Whereas opposed to prior to that, I think people would always dance around the idea, even if it was that, would be like, oh, it's a web project.
I don't really. What project are you talking about specifically?
Some of the early Verde stuff. Dave Thompson one stands out. Some cinemas. I couldn't tell you the order off the top of my head, but I remember you just being like putting in time, going on multiple trips to make a beautiful full-length video specifically with the web in mind. Excuse me.
I don't think I can take any credit for like being the first guy in BMX to try to put out full length like web video bangers, like as in traditional video parts. I think, you know, skateboarding's done that for years. Other companies have done that, you know, I'm sure before me. But what, you know, that at the time, what it was going to be was a greenhouse video. So it was a collectively like Verde Duo Cinema brands, which didn't happen. It was just a lot of people involved in all those brands, and obviously not enough budget. So we just kind of like started focusing more on Verde guys. We were going to do a Verde video, and then we were like, well, we could, you know, try to break these into separate parts.
Yeah.
And then we did like the Corrali and Dave Thompson parts.
I remember this,
but we did put in a lot of time traveling.
Maybe it was was there 2 Dave Thompson ones?
There was this props bio that he worked. That was Stu that did that, and then I did his.
Man, is that the one when he had the clip where there was like the stair set and like a little piece of a doorway, and he hopped up like onto like a piece above a doorway?
Oh yeah, that was a
Verde one, right?
Yeah, that was in a Salt Lake clip.
Dave Thompson's fucking crazy. On his bike and off his bike.
Yeah, he is. I haven't seen him in a while.
I hope he's good.
Yeah,
man, what a kind of came and went quickly, made a hell of an impact.
Yep.
Fucking incredible, right?
Yeah. I haven't like talked to him in quite a while, but from what I see on his Instagram, it looks like he's doing pretty well.
Good.
He's
he's
family
in
man.
Idaho, right?
I believe it's Idaho or I believe sorry. Shit, I should know this.
Does he have kids?
Yeah, he's got a daughter.
Okay.
He's like 4 or 5, I think.
Nice.
But yeah, he looks happy. He's a good dude.
I thought he was in Idaho, and I was kind of hoping. I was up there for the X Games thing a few months ago. I was like, fuck, I wonder if Dave will be. You know how like when something comes to near you, people just come out of the woodwork, you know? I was like, that'd be a crazy guy to see, but either I didn't see him or I missed him. But But I guess I could understand him not wanting to come watch a big fucking mess in a concrete bowl. But what's your take on social media and everything? It's really kind of changed your job. You know, when you were once a dude that could make a full-length video and focus on that, relax a bit, put in more time, you know, the game's changed. And I know, especially now with your job with cinema, the online presence is so important. And what's your take on all that, and how do you manage to try to remain prestigious with your work?
It's a tough question. I mean, social media is just like, you know, the job that never sleeps. People always want fresh content 24/7. They want to be amazed all the time. That part gets exhausting.
Yeah.
But, you know, like when we go on a trip, say for instance, we did that Denver trip, we literally do break almost every clip into a single Instagram clip, and you got a bunch of cool clips, you know, 40 or 50, 60 clips. I can't remember how many we had, but you break them up and you kind of just put them out on social media, kind of like just
kind of double dip a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of double dip, but you know, there's people that put out a lot of like really banging cutting edge writing just on Instagram that aren't going in another web edit like a YouTube or, you know, an edit you would see on the blog. So yeah, it has changed the game, but you know, within BMX it's changed the game quite a bit. But
what do you think about the riders in the world that go do really heavy shit and just put it on Instagram? Do you look at that as a positive or a negative? Or
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's not really fair for me to judge. I mean, Instagram's an open platform for anybody to put whatever they want out there. If they want to put their craziest shit on there and try to get a lot of followers, I mean, I can't really be a hater. It's not what I would do or not what I would want to do for a brand I work for. I mean, it's just kind of like, you know, it could be looked at, not saying like viral clickbait, but, you know, it's kind of like people are just always trying to put like the hottest trick porn out first, you know?
Yeah.
Or like beat people to tricks at certain spots. That part's lame. But when if someone's just trying to send it for Instagram, I mean, I don't know. I would honestly like to see like full video parts from a kid over just a, you know, one trick pony type person. You know what I mean?
I'm guilty of being a part of this problem I'm about to reference, but I feel like I totally agree with you, but I also feel like if this kid goes and what's the ongoing joke? Something down El Toro. Tries to half cab whip El Toro.
Yeah.
If that clip pops up, I'm going to watch it. If it's the new Steve Johnson video part, I'm probably going to fucking scan past it. You know what I mean?
Right.
To where like, I'd like to be like, oh, you should make a full video part and show everybody what you're all about. But it's like, there's no guarantee that people are going to watch it.
That's true.
There's so much out there. So I don't know. It's so hard. It's a tough situation to be a kid trying to come up in the game right now.
Mm-hmm. And it's weird too, like what I've noticed on Instagram, people like raw footage over any kind of edited piece with music or graphics. It's like people just love like the reality, you know, like the weird B-roll and that kind of stuff.
I wonder if it's just that concept of feeling like you're there. You just took out your phone and filmed this, even if it's shot with a legit camera and there's something behind it. But like,
that's kind of the part I don't get sometimes. I mean, why it's so much more interesting than like a real produced edited piece, you know? It's just what people are interested in watching. It's just so easy to scroll past anything these days, you know? It's just hard to catch people's eye or weird to know like what to
Is that kind of a big part of your job, managing the social media and stuff?
That's kind of split between myself and Harley Haskett. He does way more than me. He does most of it. And he does like all the art direction, website stuff. So he's handling business, all our soft goods.
Good job on the soft goods, by the way.
Yeah, great job. Shout outs to Harley for all that. But that's more of those guys. So social media, I get why it's necessary, but it's just kind of annoying. It's just kind of annoying just because it's just almost just too much sometimes. You just got to shut it all off and walk away.
Do you think if early high school you existed today, you'd get into the video stuff, or do you think some of this stuff would make it less attractive?
I don't know. I mean, it's just totally a different era. Now, like that was like pre-cell phones, pre-web videos. It's just so hard to tell. It would be a lot easier to get my content out there, but there's so many more people trying to do it now. So I guess I'm lucky that I was established a little earlier, and kind of got my foot in the door with a lot of the brands I still do work with, and some of the riders I still work with, before like kind of the web video dawn, I guess. Yeah. Not on purpose. It's just kind of, I guess I'm considered mid school, or maybe hopefully not as old school yet, but I guess I'm getting to that age where I've been around.
You're under 40. I think you can claim mid for a couple more years.
Yeah.
What do you think's coming next? I mean, for video stuff, we're kind of in this weird era where obviously none of us could have predicted what's going to happen with Instagram videos and stuff, and just this weird. I mean, where do you think it can go from here? Do you think?
I don't know, man. Like, it would be weird if Instagram just went away tomorrow. Like, what would everyone do? There'd be something else.
Another one would pop up.
Yeah,
they'd redesign Twitter or some shit.
Yeah, there's already stuff out there, but do
you think there'll ever be like a renaissance of like we're throwing it back to?
I mean, brands. There's a handful of brands still working on full length videos. I know Kinks just got started. Like they're kind of like ramping up to get really into their full length.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's awesome.
It's probably hard to justify financially.
Probably.
You're probably doing a lot of it for the love.
Well, I think they do it just to. I think they do it for the love, and I think they do it because they have the resources, and they're really kind of pushing it still as far as trying to make full length awesome content, and they can eventually brank it down into smaller web pieces and social media pieces too.
Do you think brands like Kink and some of the larger, more brands with larger presence in the BMX world have a responsibility to keep this stuff alive?
I mean, I think it's up to each brand how they control their marketing budget and what they want to spend money on. But I am glad to see that video is more important. Gives more filmers the opportunities. It gives just something about like filming trips in general. I think just brings your team closer. You bring your whole squad together, even if it's not everybody, just a couple guys. You kind of need to keep that synergy as far as keeping dudes kind of in line. And
there's teams and there's guys that ride for the same company.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where like they have nothing in common. They don't even know each other. They just happen to be on the same team.
Right.
But like stuff like when you throw all the guys in a van and stuff, it's kind of a whole different dynamic.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty important thing to do, but I understand it's expensive and not every brand can afford to do it. So definitely not casting judgment on any brands that don't do it, but it's just nice. I feel very fortunate to work for the Blackout dudes and Cinema Crew especially. All those dudes are awesome. I've worked with them all for a really long time now.
Do you think there will ever be a full-length cinema project?
Possibly.
Would you be open to it if they... we're interested.
Yeah, I would definitely be open to it. I'd be psyched. When it's the right time and the right place. We're putting out a little bit more signature product now, and as we're just ramping up the brands, I think there'll be more and more opportunities to do more trips and just kind of keep the travel budget going. I think it's not out of the question. I think not in the immediate future, but I think not out of the question for the next few years. We'll see.
When you're trying to do trips and stuff with that crew, does it get difficult to schedule at times based on these guys having so many responsibilities? These are kind of like the hardest working guys in the film and video parts game, with Garrett doing Fiend stuff, Dakota doing monster stuff, Colt stuff, Nathan doing Etney stuff. It seems like they have so much going on. Does that make it difficult for you to really do anything bigger?
Yeah, for sure. We with this squad, summer months is crazy busy, like just with contests and other sponsor projects. So yeah, we have to plan pretty far in advance. Like for instance, this Montreal trip we're starting tonight. I think we planned it like 6 months ago, or at least 6 months ago.
Wow.
I put this on the guys' calendar. I was like, look, please save these dates. It's a little easier to do it like in, say, October, like where we are now. It's a little bit easier to schedule trips for this time of year. But generally we have to plan pretty far out. Like to do that Denver trip, I remember we had to like rearrange dates a few times because of rider schedules. But it was important to me to have all 5 dudes on the team on one trip. So that's really hard to do during the summer months. But we pulled it off this year, which was cool.
It's just so iconic having all those guys together. It's like Remember the Traveling Woolberries?
Oh, what is that?
Fuck, man. That'll be hard to explain. It was a band, probably late 60s, early 70s. There was just like all the dudes from all, like George Harrison from the Beatles, Roy Orbison,
I feel like I should
Jeff
know about
Lynne
this.
from the Electric Light Orchestra. Handle Me With Care was like their big hit song.
Wow.
Fuck, who else was there? It was like all the Bob Dylan.
Oh,
Like, yeah, it was like
sweet.
Yeah. It was like fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like what the cinema team is. Like all these guys that are just like the fucking dudes. So to get them all together and do things where guys can get a chance to meet them, that's insane. It's not just like, oh, cool. You know, whether you like it or not, like if a certain team is there, one guy is going to get all the attention, you know?
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
you know, the Fly Bikes team's here. Let's go meet Devin. You know, it's not like there's always the guy that stands out. And those are always the guys that stand out. The whole team there.
Yeah. No, I feel super lucky. Like I said, I've known all those guys for a long time. Since, man, gosh, I don't even remember. I think I've known Garrett and Corey probably the longest.
Yeah.
Because I met those guys. Man, I met Corey in the late 90s. Probably met Garrett in the early 2000s.
When he was a child.
Yeah. He was like 13, 14. So yeah, it's just cool to like know those guys for so long and now get to work with them pretty closely. For a brand like Cinema is awesome.
Yeah. How's the product doing? Are people buying the Cinema product?
Yeah, and like we're ramping up our product too. So like, we just dropped our like this year. We got some signature apparel for some of the guys coming out.
Cool.
We got we did that Dakota Army Green wheel set.
Yeah.
We got CK pedals. We got a Garrett rim coming out this holiday season.
Now, do these guys have influence on these products?
Yeah. Like Matt has a few like mock-ups of things, and then he'll pass it to me, ask me what I think. Myself and Harley kind of work as a team first, and then we ask team riders if they're interested. And we like if it's not really an instance where guys bring us product ideas, we just kind of like bounce ideas until people are like, oh, I'm happy.
What's the limit here with Cinema? So you got sprockets, you got wheels, obviously, pedals.
Yeah.
Like what?
Right now we make everything except frame, fork, bars, and cranks.
Cinema
Pretty
does.
much. Cinema does.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Are there tires?
Tires are in the works.
Okay.
Tires are in the works.
Nice.
Yes.
Is this getting weird for any of the riders that even have other part sponsors, or is this kind of
no? At the time, no. Right now,
Corey's on Duo, right?
Yeah, Corey's on Duo.
Nathan on Duo.
Nathan is not. Nathan
Okay.
has no parts deals right now. So
Okay, a claw?
no. Nathan hasn't been on a claw in a few years.
Cool.
Nathan was off.
Shows how dumb I am.
Yeah, Nathan was off when I think when Bruno got on. That was around the same time. That was a few years back.
Okay.
So yeah, Nathan hasn't had a part sponsor. He was riding a lot of his bike sponsors parts, but now he's riding a lot more Cinema parts.
Okay, that's awesome.
He's got that signature sprocket and that tire we're working on. I don't know if it's too early for me to say this, but we're doing a Nathan signature tire for 2019.
Okay.
Should be cool. So yeah, I mean, I think moving forward, we do a lot of the new parts we're developing. We do try to make them signature parts for our team.
That's awesome. Are the guys making royalties on that?
Yeah.
So it's another way to throw them a bone.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And we're just kind of getting started with all that right now. So it's pretty exciting.
What's your take on that? I mean, this is obviously something much bigger than it was ever initially planned to be. It was just going to be wheels, right?
Yeah. Originally it was just going to be a wheel company, but wheels are expensive. And it's just, I guess it's hard to make it just selling expensive wheels and rims and hubs, so we, naturally kind of had to expand. But yeah, so far it's been great.
Well, the team is insane. Is there any chance of bringing on more guys? I know I enjoyed in the past. It seemed like there was Bruno was on, guys overseas and stuff. So it seemed like there was kind of a bigger presence, but it's almost such a tight, badass crew. It's almost weird to throw somebody else on.
Yeah. We've talked about it so much, and eventually, yes, but for the immediate, no. We just want to build the brand up, get all our product out, and just keep pushing forward for now. And even take better care of our current team before we go adding like international guys for the time being. Yeah. So yeah, we do really want to focus on our 5 guys for now. But yeah, eventually we will ramp up a little bit. I mean, we flow some dudes' wheels, like guys like Matthias and a handful of other buddies. We hook up with wheels, but we're for now we just try to focus pretty heavy on our pro team.
I mean, you kind of can't not. It's kind of incredibly stacked, but anything exciting in the future as far as the next year or 2 trips wise? Anything else planned, or is it kind of ending at Montreal on your?
Right now, yeah, Montreal's kind of the end of our fiscal year, so I kind of have to wait for next fiscal year to kick in. So probably do some Cali trips. I'd like to do a Cali trip in January.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I'm not really sure. I do a lot of like freelance commercial side gigs here in Raleigh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. You're doing a lot of stuff outside of BMX, right?
Yeah, a decent amount of like.
What kind of stuff is it?
It's everything from like event videos to like corporate talking head videes. To like mom and pop commercial type video work.
Can you find enjoyment in that, or is that just straight up you need a paycheck?
You know, I've really started enjoying it more.
Yeah.
You know, it's fun to do local work because, you know, a lot of the work I do is, you know, traveling, so travel intensive. It's just nice to do some local gigs and not have to be jumping on a plane all the time.
Yeah.
You know? Since I'm married and have kids, it's just nice to have a little bit of like local stability and then still, you know, get to go on trips, so I kind of get the best of both worlds on that.
Yeah, that's kind of unfair. Do you have work through an agency or anything when you're home?
No, I don't have an agency.
Word of mouth?
Yeah, just kind of word of mouth and a lot of just like friend of friends and kind of like recommendations.
Yeah. Any desire to do more BMX stuff, or are you pretty well satisfied with the cinema stuff?
I'm very happy just working for cinema right now. You know, if other brands pop up, I'd love to do trips. But yeah, for the immediate future, it's just kind of like try to focus really hard on cinema.
Yeah. So was the last thing you did before cinema, obviously a big project, was the Etnies video?
Yeah.
Was that seemed like it had a lot of speed bumps.
Yeah. Well, you know, naturally starting a full-length video with a team that's spread out over, everyone always feels, I feel like a lot of teams, and rightfully so, they try to set the goal at like 1 year. And that kind of never happens because it's really hard to wrangle a full team of dudes that live all over the place on a limited travel budget.
When you factor in, a lot of the standard BMX injuries are a couple months.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So yeah, you have all those factors playing against you with travel, dude schedules, people getting hurt. So chapters was supposed to be like a year to a year and a half, and then ended up being, just over, I think with editing, it was just over 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I was able to work for Etnies the whole time, so it was awesome. It was great. But yeah, of course we had some speed bumps. We had a couple like months where we couldn't do trips because we were just waiting on budgets and that kind of stuff. I was never really involved with any of that stuff. I was just lucky enough just to focus on the creative side of filming and editing. I didn't have to deal with the budgets and the that kind of stuff. That was all POVA.
Yeah. So do you think probably no more Etnies projects in the future?
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea where it's going, but I know POVA's no longer there, so that's a bummer.
It's such a bummer, man.
He's like kind of spearheading the whole BMX program there for over a decade.
No, he did so much for. He created what it was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like he made it something other than if DVS flows a few guys some shoes, which has happened in the past where it's just like it doesn't fucking matter. He made it matter.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like again, back in the day, watching videos like Etnies Ford, like that was it. Because just guys like Joe and Taj and the team back then. Like Etnies was always my favorite shoe company back then, so it was just really awesome experience.
Well, they were for a long time. They were the ones giving the guys shoes and stuff. The rooftop shoe, the Joe shoe. Like nobody else was doing that.
Yeah,
and even when there were a lot more shoe brands in the game than there are right now. So it's a shame to see them. Who knows what the future holds for them? Maybe you know more than I do. I doubt. I
really don't know. To be honest, yeah.
Just hopefully the guys can hang on. I think they're only paying 4 guys now.
I'm honestly not even sure.
Yeah, I think so. So it's just...
Yeah, it's a bummer. I hate to see... I mean, things can't last forever. It is a bummer to see something like that going away, though.
Yeah. I guess we'll see where it goes in the future and whatnot. But how about yourself? What's next for you?
So yeah, just doing this Montreal trip, and then beyond that, I don't have any out-of-town trips planned for the rest of the year, which is kind of nice. So just
not even like vacations or anything cool?
Well, yeah, I just got back from my honeymoon.
Hey, how was Slovenia?
It was awesome.
Never been there.
Oh, dude, it was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, we originally just kind of planned on passing through Slovenia on our way to Croatia from Italy, but we ended up staying there for a few days, even though it was raining. We kind of stayed there, and that was on our honeymoon during my wife's birthday, so we just kind of hung out, walked around Ljubljana, the capital, with umbrellas, and just hung out for a few days before we went to Croatia, and it was awesome. Yeah. Went and checked out a bunch of castles. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Super cool. I highly recommend it.
To multiple cities in Slovenia? Or?
We took a shuttle bus from Venice, Italy to Ljubljana, Slovenia. It's like a 4-hour shuttle ride. It wasn't too bad.
Okay.
And then we stayed there for 3 nights, and we rented a car one day, and it's like a small country, so it was kind of easy to drive around in one day. So we drove down to some these caves, these like gnarly, like one of the biggest caves in Europe. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Took like an Indiana Jones train through the caves. Like,
damn,
super gnarly. That was a lot of fun. And then we saw some crazy castles. We saw a castle inside of a cave. And then we drove to this place called Lake Bled, which is like kind of like northern Slovenia, almost like in the
That sounds pretty fucking metal.
the Austrian border. But yeah, it's just So yeah, we saw so much cool stuff while we were there.
What was the highlight? What was your favorite city?
Well, everywhere we went was pretty different. It was like Venice, Italy. I didn't honestly care for too much. It kind of felt like a tourist trap, just really crowded.
Yep.
A lot of old tourists.
Dirty water.
Yeah. But it was cool. We were literally there for like 24 hours, so it wasn't bad. And then we made our way through Slovenia for a few days, and that was cool. Mostly stayed in the capital, Ljubljana, and then we made our way to Zagreb, Croatia, and that was an awesome city. Saw some spots in that city too that would be cool to go back to.
Do you know Marin Rantish? You know who that is?
Yeah.
He's in Raleigh right now. He kind of lives out here most of the time. He's from like 20 minutes from Zagreb.
Dude, it's a rad.
He's a bad motherfucker too.
Yeah. I've seen him shred out there, but no, it looked like a cool city. But we were just on a half a day layover there on our way to Split, Croatia. And that's where we stayed the last few days. Just had an Airbnb on the water.
Oh, I was gonna say on the coast. Yeah,
very tropical. So that was pretty cool. We bumped into that's the only place on the trip I saw a BMXer, so that was cool and he was riding a Brian Kaczynski frame. So
no shit.
It's cool to bump into
the GT
somebody.
one or
the
GT?
Shit.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. You talked to him, or you like?
Yeah. I
cover your face.
I flagged him down. I was like, hey man, what's up? What's the BMX scene like here? And he's like, oh man, there's only like 5 riders in this town because this is like a small beach town. A lot of like really old cobblestone. It's really like super medieval.
Cool. There's any riders.
Yeah,
that's sick.
Yeah, they have like an indoor DIY spot and everything there too. Yeah, so
that's the craziest thing about BMX is being in a weird city like that and running into somebody. You know, it's a small world.
Yeah.
Small goddamn world.
Yeah, it is cool being in a random place like that and seeing any form of BMX. You always just I always just like flagging someone down and just asking them like what it's like there, you know.
Do you flag them down and tell them your accomplishments and stuff so they buy you beer? Let me tell you who I am.
Nah, man. No need to name drop.
Name drop yourself. All right, well, I know you got to get to the airport. Final question.
No, we're good. I think we got a little bit. Let's see here. Oh, what were we going to say? Go for it.
The final question is, who's your favorite BMX rider of all time?
Jesus, man, that's such a hard question.
Yeah, that's the point. That's why it's last.
Oh my gosh. My favorite BMX rider of all time. I don't have one, man. There's way too many. I mean, gosh, this is some serious pressure.
Yeah, you have to address the pressure.
Damn. Are you talking like who I think is the most influential or who's my
What's your favorite? Who do you like?
Man, it's such a hard question. I would honestly probably have to say Taj.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just like
pre-vegan or post-vegan?
Like everything. Like first time I saw him doing a tail whip, I was like, dude, that's just my favorite rider.
Makes tail whips look fucking cool, man.
Yeah. And getting to meet him over the years and work with him a few times was so awesome, you know?
Did you shoot the stuff in the school in Electronica with him?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was his idea.
I know Cosman just did some more shit at that spot. Mm-hmm. Is that spot pretty crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like middle of nowhere, Kansas, just that abandoned school. Taj knew the guy that bought the school off eBay. Taj was friends with him somehow through the music world, just do like bands and traveling. So Taj had this idea to just go out to the school, and there really wasn't much there to work with. There was minimal resources, just kind of like weird. That gymnasium and some of the hallways were kind of cool. Just been abandoned for decades, but that was a lot of fun to work on.
It looked different, and it's so cool to make something look different these days, and everything is the fucking same.
Yeah, shout out to Taj.
Yeah. Is he in Michigan again?
Yeah, I think he's in Michigan.
Good for him. I hope everything's going well for him.
Yeah, me too. He's a really awesome guy.
I really enjoy his art.
Me too. Yeah,
there's a lot of funny shit.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff.
But all right, well, I guess you got to go to Montreal, and I'm probably gonna go drink more beer.
That's awesome.
Thank you for doing this. You're a wonderful man. Congratulations on marriage number 2, and I hope there's not a number 3.
There won't be. But thank you for your time. Thanks for the interview, Kyle. It's been fun.
All right, well, I love you.
All right, love you too, bud.
Bye.
See ya.
All right, that does it for this week. Big thanks to Will for stopping by. Follow him on Instagram at Will_Stroud. Also, be sure to follow at Cinema BMX if you want to see Will's video work with some incredible riding from guys like Garrett Reynolds, Dakota Roach, and the rest of the boys. And until next week, just remember, it doesn't count if you don't pull the rollback. Thanks.